The Gospel according to Luke, the 10th chapter.
Glory to you, O Lord.
Then, just as a lawyer stood up to test Jesus, "Teacher," he said, "what must I do to inherit eternal life?" He said to him, "What is written in the law? What do you read there?" He answered, "You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, and with all your soul, and with all your strength, and with all your mind, and your neighbor as yourself." And he said to him, "You have given the right answer. Do this, and you will live." But wanting to justify himself, he asked Jesus, "And who is my neighbor?" Jesus replied, "A man was going down from Jerusalem to Jericho and fell into the hands of robbers, who stripped him, beat him, and went away, leaving him half dead. Now by chance a priest was going down the road, and when he saw him, he passed by on the other side. So likewise a Levite, when he came to the place and saw him, passed by on the other side. But a Samaritan, while traveling, came near him, and when he saw him, he was moved with pity. He went to him and bandaged his wounds, having poured oil and wine on them. Then he put him on his own animal, brought him to an inn, and took care of him. The next day he took out 2 denarii, gave them to the innkeeper, and said, 'Take care of him, and when I come back, I will repay you whatever more you spend.' Which of these 3 do you think was a neighbor to the man who fell into the hands of the robbers?" He said, "The one who showed him mercy." Jesus said to him, "Go and do likewise." The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, O Christ.
Gracious and loving God, may the words of my mouth be forever pleasing to you. Amen. I do not like the title of this particular gospel at all. The Good Samaritan has always bothered me. I don't think he would have considered himself that, number one. I would like to rename it today, for all of us, "A Most Courageous Fellow." I don't think God would mind. And why am I saying this? Well, because the priest was doing exactly what any priest would have done in Jesus' day. You do not get anywhere near anything dirty, ever. It is completely unholy. It will tarnish yourself. And the Levite, you don't ever stop along that road, because if he stopped long enough, he could be clumped over the head at any minute and look the same as the man in the ditch. So, I really don't look at them as being horrible people. I don't think any of us should. I would like to rename the Samaritan as a courageous fellow, because he had to spend an enormous amount of time with this man. Look at all he does. First of all, he comes and goes, I'm sure he's thinking, all right, what am I going to do here? Because this road was absolutely treacherous for anyone to, number one, travel on, because robbers were on it all the time. All the time. And really, the man is lucky he wasn't found dead, quite honestly. So the Samaritan is thinking, how am I going to do this? And my guess is, he just went by loving instinct and said, this is what I would do for anyone. And went over and served the man. Despite all of the danger that could have came his way, he had to lift the man onto what I'm assuming was his mule. Not too many people had horses in that day, which I'm sure did not take a little bit of time. And he had to travel to make sure the man got to an inn, which is many miles along that road. And the road is not an easy road, which is why they use mules for sure footing. So I would like to make an analogy between our courageous Samaritan and our courageous men and women that worked this whole past week with our Vacation Bible School. George, can you please show everyone, and then I'll continue with the sermon. I would have people come up and show the dance numbers, but I'm not, so no worries. Kelsey Zamudio, who put that wonderful video together. Because of Kelsey and Kayla, we now are a wonderful presence on Facebook.
Well, it's on Facebook and
Yes. So if you have Facebook, check us because things are updated every week. Thank you, ladies. And also, we are on YouTube. For anyone who knows a shut-in, the sermons are on there so that people can see and get a message every week. So it is an absolute blessing to have modern technology. Well, that's if people want to hear sermons. But the Facebook is really, really good. Make sure you check that out, please. So back to the sermon. I know for sure that the men and women that helped out with Vacation Bible School this week would not say that they traveled treacherous territory like the Samaritan did. But I can assure you they were most courageous. If you would have watched Ernie and Susie Henritzy navigate 12 3- to 4-year-olds all week, you would have seen courageousness. If you would have watched Gail and Bob do the crafts with every one of the children that happened to be here this week, you would have noticed how courageous. If you noticed in the video, Miss Laura dancing for 2 hours, and with Miss Beth in front of all those children, who, by the way, will let you know if you aren't doing things correctly. That was most courageous of both of you. And for everyone that helped out in the kitchen, it takes a lot of courage to feed all those children and not have numerous complaints. And I heard none, by the way. So it was a magnificent week. There's going to be a lot of courage needed for the families of the police officers that were killed this week, and a lot of courage for the families whose sons and daughters were involved in perpetrating the horrible, horrible incident that went on. I would ask that all of us pray for both this week. I believe it is only through the message of Jesus and the commandment that says, "Thou shalt not kill," that we can correct things day by day over a long period of time. Jesus would call each of us to reach out and come near in situations that are not easy and are not safe. We pray this week for all of our missionaries around the globe. Things are very difficult right now around the world, and particularly in the United States of America, where people feel like they must target our peacekeepers. This is where the courage of Christ comes. When we see something that is not right, we are called as best as we can to stop the violence, stop the prejudice, stop the hatred that people are fed with day after day after day on our media. Unfortunately, we are not seeing what the news was meant to do, and that was to give an objective message of what goes on around the world. We must pray for discernment, because we are not getting the truth. We are all brokenhearted and suffering around this world. There is no question about it. And it takes courage to fight against the things that Christ would not have in this world or in any other, for that matter. The Good Samaritan took great risk to help the wounded. And this is what we are all called to do. Whether it be the brokenhearted in our families, or in our neighborhoods, or in the world. I know that children in high school get to see that women and children have to walk 6 miles each way to get water for their communities. Food for the Poor gets a well in their community, so they no longer have to do that. It takes courage for the people to go down there and help them build this. And I pray each and every one of us, when we are called to it, have the courage to speak the truth, to hate, to lies, to any time that Christ is not present. It happens every day. Whether it be in the food line, whether it be when you're taking a family member to the doctor, whether it be you're in a school and you see things going wrong, let us all have the courage to lovingly speak the truth and be that good Samaritan. Consider it being a courageous fellow, which includes men, women, and children. Amen.